Hello and welcome to not just another... Ron, why is your shirt so unbuttoned?
I'm handsome.
You've got so much chest out. Anyway, hello and welcome to not just another episode of
Wait, Laura.
Ron, this is our centenary
I know.
edition.
Laura,
just nips out and interrupting.
I've prepared something.
Why didn't you say that before we started recording then?
Because people would need to know what it is that I've prepared. So it's what...
I really hope people know that this isn't like a prepared, whoa, wait, what? I was doing the intro and you have interrupted me with a bit. No, this is genuine incompetence.
So what we're going to do is because it's 100 episodes and we're still failures.
I haven't even announced that yet, Ron.
Shut up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start leeching off of more successful podcasts, okay? And we're going to start stealing from them. So what I've done is I've prepared an intro in the style of the newsagent's successful podcast, okay?
Right.
So what's going to happen is...
They don't have 100 episodes.
They probably do. They release 5 times a week, sometimes 6.
Wow.
So what we're going to do is, there's a bit that I'm going to read, then I'm going to say, welcome to Lexx Education, then the music's going to play, and then I'll say, it's Ron, and then you say, it's Laura, and then we just get into it, okay?
Okay, and this will be a really slick intro.
Yeah, that's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Inventions are when a new thing comes into being. They've famously all been invented now, otherwise Laura would be an inventor, not just a useless mother. But what are the best inventions, and how did they come into being? Welcome to Lexx Education. Music.
I'm Laura.
It's Ron.
Music.
No, music. It's Ron.
Wait, why? The music's not playing?
Well, yeah, that needs to be edited in.
No, I'm not. I haven't got it, so it won't be.
Yeah, music. No, not newsagent's music, our music.
That's already played.
Yeah, we'll play it again, just a bit of it. And also, this is a global podcast, needs to be said. I think you need to get Alexander Armstrong to say Lexx Education, but then I go, it's Ron.
It's Laura.
And then we just launch into it, okay? Should we do it again, a bit slicker?
No, I think that was perfect. I think that was the answer to all of the world's problems. It's our 100th episode! Do you know what, Ron? Because I was feeling very proud of ourselves for hitting 100 episodes, I tried to Google how many podcasts hit 100 episodes, like what percentage of podcasts, and 90% of podcasts never make it past the 3rd episode.
Really?
Yeah. So we we surpassed all expectations on day 1. And also our listening figures, which we heavily bemoan a lot on this podcast and say that we're unsuccessful, we are still in the top 25% of podcasts given our listening statistics.
That's pretty good. But then, Does that work? But no, because if only 10% of podcasts make it longer than 3 episodes, does that mean there's 15% of podcasts that have 3 episodes that are more well listened to than our 100?
I think that those statistics are based on regular release podcasts. That's what I choose to believe.
Okay.
So, given it is our centenary episode, 100 full episodes, we thought we'd do a little special, and we racked our brains, and then last night I was driving to Thames Ditton and back, and I was thinking to myself, what are we going to do for this 100 episodes? And I tried to think about 100 in science, but as Ron has made clear, science isn't very 100-y. Science is all about the 12s, man. 12s, what a system. So then I started to think about other ways. I thought, what's 100 on the periodic table? Is anything 100? Don't know. What's got 100 electrons? Nothing. Probably something has. So, and then I started Googling 100s in science, and I found a lot of anniversaries of different museums. That wasn't very interesting. But then I found a really cool book. I found a cool book which... Oh, no, don't get rid of that. That is all of my new ideas for the tour. I found a new cool book called The 100 Greatest Science Discoveries by Hendall Haven. And in this book, it's a kind of learning accompaniment or ideas book for teachers or people who teach science, aka us. And the author lists the 100 greatest science discoveries of all time. So I thought we could go through some of these. We're going to do 20 today and basically commit ourselves to 500. 10 today, 10 today. Sorry, Ron, 10 today, 5 each, and we'll do 10 of them. And then basically we're committing ourselves to 1,000 episodes of Lexx Education in order to finish this list at some point. And that just makes everyone happy.
Yeah. So, I assumed that we were doing inventions because of the wheelbarrow and you as an inventor. I thought this was a celebration of Laura.
No, but I do have some thoughts on that to come up later.
Yeah,
I've
a list of things that you would have invented.
Accidentally. There is one in my list, Ron, that just made me go, oh, for fuck's sake, the world was so much easier to be a famous, cool, smart guy back in the day.
Mine are all really dull. Apart from, like, 2. Yeah.
Have we got the same ones? Did we accidentally do the same ones?
Number 1. Levers.
Hang on, it really sounds like my child is on the stairs to my office. Right, well, we'll just cut that out. Number 1, you go, Ron.
Levers and buoyancy. That's not where you started?
We have not got the same
Grant.
ones. No.
Okay, Laura, what can you tell me about levers and buoyancy? And now, I just want to brag straight off the bat, that's not one invention. That's 2.
Did the same person invent both of them?
Yeah.
Nobody invented buoyancy.
Well, he discovered buoyancy.
Yeah. What do I know about levers? I know that the further away from the fulcrum you push, the more bang for your buck you get.
Yep.
So that's levers, isn't it? Buoyancy, things float, don't they?
Yeah, basically. So, do you know who invented these things?
No one invented them. These are discoveries, Ron.
Someone invented levers.
No, they discovered levers.
What, you think, there's a fucking lever tree? Just grown wrong lever. You think someone...
All trees have levers.
Not bad.
Aristotle.
Close, actually a small owl.
Archimedes.
It was Archimedes, who was...
Archimedes. I was thinking about his name yesterday. Archimedes.
Yeah, it's a good name. So he, culturally, Greek, ancient Greek. He was from a place called Syracuse. Do you know where Syracuse is?
Italy.
It is. It's in Sicily. Yeah, well done, Laura.
Thank you. I listen to a lot of Roman fiction.
I feel like Syracuse is also somewhere in America. Is it like a university or something?
Yeah, that's ringing a bell.
Yeah, I feel like you hear Americans...
It's also the way that Shakespeare characters tell one another that they might have committed crimes. Syracuse you of murder in the first degree, sirrah. Like that.
Is Sir a Shakespeare character?
Yeah. No, it's like Sir. Sirrah.
Okay. Old Archie... He was 26 when he was...
That's like 40 in modern age. 60 for a woman.
What makes you think that? What?
Well, it's just that was much older then, wasn't it? Now at 26, you're still basically breastfeeding, but back then you were like a full-blown adult man.
Yeah. That's
How old are you?
I'm 28.
Yeah.
Basically breastfeeding, yeah.
Yeah.
You brought it up. Yeah, Archimedes, he was considered the greatest mathematician of the ancient world. So
Did he discover zero?
No, that wasn't until 1,000 years later. No, he did buoyancy and levers, but he also did like the first approximation of pi. Cheesecake. He also worked out how to calculate the area of a circle and the volume of a sphere, and he anticipated calculus, sort of getting the fundamentals right, but not necessarily working out the formula for it. And then that wasn't done until Newton 2,000 years later. Nobody built on that. Yeah.
This guy's on it.
Yeah, smart boy. Do you know what calculus is, Laura?
No.
It's how you you work out the area under a graph.
What do you mean by the area under a graph, Ron?
So if you have like a line on a graph,
Uh-huh.
and then you can use calculus by plugging in different bits and pieces to work out the area underneath it.
What do you mean the area underneath it?
The area underneath the line.
Isn't it just a triangle?
If it's a straight line.
Oh, yeah, it could be a different one. The one I was... the straight line. Yeah. Why would you ever need to know that, Ron? Is that come up a lot?
Yeah, it really does. It's really,
Why?
really important.
What for? What do you use that for?
It depends what the graph is showing you, but for example, like if you had a straight line that was basically sort of showing you how many things happened each year. Let's say it was human deaths from a particular thing each year. The gradient of that line is the rate of deaths, and then the area underneath it would equal the total number of deaths that had happened. So you can...
Presumably you'd need to have that information to have made the graph in the first place. So just write it down.
Well, no, because you plot each year, and then you can use this to then work out how much it is in total.
Oh, great. Well done, Archimedes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then do I have to explain what levers and buoyancy are? Do you know the story about the buoyancy?
Is it like the owl and the pussycat? The buoyancy. Once there was a lad.
Buoyancy.
Buoyancy. He's a boy and sea. Best friends, couldn't be separated. Went out in his little boat. Hung
Come
out
on,
there.
Arthur. We've got to go out to the buoyancy.
Yeah.
No.
That'd be a good name for a pub, wouldn't it? The Buoyancy. A floating pub. You could call it the Buoyancy.
All right, pub on a boat. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah?
Any pub? No.
Let's start that in Bristol.
Buy it.
Buy it. All right.
No.
We get 5,000 patrons. We'll start a pub in Bristol called the Buoyancy.
Love it.
Maybe we should put this on the Patreon episodes ideas to go with Cocoa Brown and Rusty Sugar. The Buoyancy. We could write some fiction about a mystery that happens in the Buoyancy.
Okay.
I'm going to put it on the Patreon ideas, Ron.
Okay.
So full of ideas.
I would like that more than starting a pub. Okay. No, so Archimedes, Archie boy, he was ordered by King Hiram, to find out whether a goldsmith had fucked him over, essentially.
I hope King Hiram was a really cool king, and then there was a bastard one called Firen.
He doesn't sound that cool. He sounds like a bit of a busybody fucking snoop, to be honest, because essentially he gave a bunch of gold to a goldsmith and said, can you make me a solid gold crown? And then the crown comes back and it weighs the same as the gold that he'd given the lad. But for no reason in particular, the king suspects the goldsmith and says, no, you've just wrapped something else in gold and made it weigh the same. So you've stolen a bunch of my gold. And then he just basically just rings up the smartest guy he knows and he's like, Archie, I think I'm getting fucked over here. Can you put your massive brain on this problem and come solve it? So naturally Archie goes for a bath to mull things over in the water. And essentially, with a little bit of rubber-dub-dub, he works out that the water goes up when Archie goes in and vice versa. And then he puts the crown and some gold in the water and essentially works out that they have the same density and therefore it was all made out of gold and the goldsmith was actually fine and the king was being weird. And then he shouted Eureka.
Yes, I remember the Eureka bit. But presumably the king killed the goldsmith anyway just to save face? That feels kingly.
They don't really mention the goldsmith again, so yes, you can assume he's dead.
Dead. Goldsmith.
And I believe Archimedes also said, but it's not mentioned here, something about give me a long enough lever and I could move the world, because basically the longer the lever, the more power you have. Yeah.
But what they didn't know was he was talking about his dick. Well, thanks for that one, Ron. Do you want to hear my first one?
Yes.
My first greatest scientific discovery of all time is the discovery that the sun is the centre of the universe. And we continued to believe that was true until the 28th of September 1986, at which point what became the centre of the universe, Ron? Me! I once got into trouble in an RE lesson for claiming I was the centre of the universe. Anyway, this was discovered in 1520 by a man called Copernicus, who I can't help but imagine as a goat. I'm assuming there is something in something where there's a goat called Copernicus. What are you doing?
Why would there be
You're
a
texting
goat?
someone.
Why would there
You're
be a goat
texting someone.
called
What are you
Copernicus?
doing? What are you doing?
I'm listening to you.
No, you're not. You were typing and you're doing something else. I can tell you're distracted.
Yeah, I'm organising the pub on Friday.
Yeah, I knew you were busy. You're a Capricorn. Maybe that's why I'm thinking.
Of goats. Copernicus is the name of a cat from the BoJack Horseman series.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, so Copernicus, back in the 1520s, he sort of had a look at the work of all other astronomers and compiled them and formalised looking at the stars, that kind of thing. Even during this time, actually, they all went along with Ptolemy's idea. So Ptolemy and Aristotle were the Greek scientists that everyone just believed what they'd said, basically, for like 1,500 years. They had the idea that the Earth was still and the sun and the planets all revolved and go around the Earth, and that the stars were like set in space, but they just kind of sat out on like a shelf further away. And that was the idea of what space was like. But then what had been happening over those 1,500 years was that as more and more people studied what was going on, they had to like make adjustments to this model. So they had these epicircles and circles that these planets were doing. And so they'd slightly adjust the model, but go, basically, it's absolutely right, except for this one's doing this, which is slightly different. So then by the time Copernicus is around, there's basically so many adjustments to the model that the whole model basically is falling apart and stuck together with sellotape and just cannot possibly be true. But because the church just were like, it's true, guys, they weren't allowed to question it. So even when they found information that contradicted it, they were just like, so, don't worry about it. So Copernicus got really detailed, and then because he was realizing that more and more of these planets were moving, he started thinking hey, I wonder how all this looks if you're on one of those moving planets. Whoa, what do the movements look like if you're moving? Whoa. And then his mind went swing.
We are.
What if we're moving? Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. It didn't happen in a bath, so slightly less filmic than the last one.
Yeah.
But then he sort of went back to all his calculations.
Let's start casting these people. Who would you do Archimedes as?
So what? He's 26.
He's 26.
Yeah.
Big brain, big head probably to have his big brain. Maybe a Timothy Chalamet type.
Ugh.
But no, he's too skinny. He wouldn't have moved the water that much.
What about a young John Lithgow? He's got a big head.
Can we just have John Lithgow for all of them?
I kind of feel like Copernicus needs to be a bit meeker. Copernicus, I want a real pale man that's only ever awake at night looking at stars, like a little naked mole rat.
Maybe he could be Timmy Chalamet.
Yeah, but more anemic. Paler. I want paler.
Timmy
thinner.
Chalamet's pretty anemic.
Yeah, but isn't he
Yeah.
banging one of the Kardashians? That
What
just
about
feels a
Robbie
bit too big
Coltrane
balls.
for Archimedes?
He seems
Like
too
a
friendly.
young Robbie Coltrane.
I don't picture
Why
him
would
in a
Archimedes
bath.
be friendly?
I think he's
Robbie
a showerer.
Coltrane. I could picture him in a bath. Yeah, but we need someone with mass. We need someone with mass so that the water moves up and down.
Who's
about
that
Chris
guy that was in
Farley?
the Green Mile?
Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Clark Duncan as Archimedes. I see that. I like that.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
Copernicus.
I want a really, really meek, like
The boy from the Holdovers, maybe.
who's the guy that's married to the woman from? He's in Fargo, and he's married to William H. Macy. That's who I want for Copernicus. That's exactly who I picture for Copernicus.
Oh, I love that guy. He looks like someone from Cats, but all the time.
Yeah. Yeah? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, like if you told me that man's name was Rum Tum Tugger, I'd believe.
Yeah. Right, he's Copernicus, okay? So he's just hanging out. So he starts...
I watched Fargo the other day.
Oh, so good.
Great film. Oh,
yeah,
he's,
so
he's
basically-
married to Felicity Huffman.
Yes, from Desperate Housewives. That's what I was trying to say, but I couldn't remember anybody's names. So yeah, basically he worked out that the planets all go around the Earth, and then he spent like 20 years just being only awake at night, little bush baby, and he realised that the sun was the only thing that didn't vary in size over the course of the year. So he was like, so the sun must be a fixed object because that's the only one that's not changing. So then he was like, the distance from the Earth to the sun has to always remain the same. And then he's like, so probably the sun's the middle, and worked all of that around, and it all worked out. But here's the thing about Copernicus, because the power of the church and the anti-new idea stuff was so strong, he never released his findings in his lifetime. So he just like worked all this out and sat on it and kept quiet.
So, I'm actually going to skip to my number 3 here, Laura, which is Johannes Kepler, because he invented discovered in the year 1609 the planetary motion. So he was like the guy that took Copernicus's stuff and then took it on a bit further.
How about Gabriel Byrne for Johannes Kepler?
I don't know this guy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Let me tell you a bit about him, and then we start casting him because you're going completely off the name Johannes Kepler right now.
Yeah, pretty much. My next option is Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, Waltz is giving more Kepler to me because he is from southern Germany, whereas Christoph Waltz is Austrian, but not far off. So he was born in southern Germany 28 years after Copernicus discovered what he discovered. He had this weird upbringing where, like, his aunt was burnt at the stake for being a witch, and they tried to burn his mum as well. And then
See, this is
he
giving
was
me more
sick and he
Chalamet.
couldn't
You're like,
see.
This is why he's a perma boy.
Perma boy.
Yeah, just a permanent boy.
Yeah, and I don't think Christoph Waltz is a permanent boy. I think we need
No,
more
I said
boy
Chalamet.
vibes.
I said this one's giving me Chalamet.
Oh, sorry, I was talking. I didn't hear you. But yeah, effectively, he was the one that he discovered the concept of ellipses so that they weren't moving in perfect circles, which kind of sort of fixed some of the maths that was going on. And he kind of actually worked out how the planets were moving. And 400 years later, we're still using his model. He got it right.
Oh, well done, Kepler.
Yeah. And when he was doing this, where's the guy's name? The Catholic Church were burning people for believing what Copernicus said. So,
yeah, there was like a friar that got
Friar
burned, wasn't there?
Giordano Bruno. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Kepler. I just wanted to get that one in at the end of the Copernicus thing.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Who do we want to be Kepler?
So Perma Boy, but a bit European. I mean, Timmy the Shal, he is French, but French and German's very different.
Yeah, real smart. Like, we're still using his stuff now. He's got to be dogged, you know?
Dominic Sessa?
Who the hell's that?
He's a new Perma Boy from the Holdovers.
Ooh. Oh, he's a bit... Yeah, Mabes. I don't. He's right. He's giving me too many John Ralphio vibes. I can't take him seriously.
Okay. So he's defiant. He's still doing it even though people are getting burnt at the stake. He's
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that's wrong. That's not it.
Okay.
Two horses are going past my window.
Again? This has happened before.
Yeah, it's the police again.
Ugh, where are they off to?
The football.
What about Asa Butterfield?
Oh, Hugo from The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas.
Maybe.
I don't know why that came up first.
I would say Sex Education.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, he's a bit Perma Boy.
No, I like Asa Butterfield.
Okay,
we'll go him.
Asa Butterfield it is. Congratulations, Kepler. You have been cast.
Yeah, he's a Perma Boy for sure. Oh my God, he's younger than me.
Let's do my third one too, then.
He's so posh. His full name is Asa Bop Far Butterfield.
Were they playing Bop It at the time? Asa Bop.
Bop.
Far. Butterfield. We're going to jump to my third one too.
Asa Bop Far Butterfield.
Asa Bop Far Butterfield. Just because this one also ties in with those three. It's Galileo, Ron.
Sorry, I'm not listening. I was looking at Emma Mackey's beautiful face.
Yeah, she's got a nice face. Yeah, I'm going to jump to my third one. I've got two Galileos. This is the second of them, but this one ties in more closely with the ones we were just talking about, and then I'll go back to the other one. So in 1610, Galileo discovers that Jupiter has moons. And this was the first discovery that other planets have moons. Because prior to this, they were all just going along with what Aristotle said about nothing has moons except the Earth.
Yeah.
And then he was like... basically got really into telescopes.
Yeah.
So, telescopes were like just being invented at this time, and then he managed to invent one that was more powerful, or sort of created one that was more powerful. But the guy, Hendall Haven, the guy writing this, he did a thing in this that really made me viscerally feel what it must have been like to have these discoveries invented, because... he has a line here that he says, he turned specks of light in the night sky into fascinating spherical objects, into places, rather than pinpricks of light. And that's the first time I've had it sort of hammered home that the discovery that these things were places just immediately expands so rapidly and hugely and uncomprehensively your concept of existence. That growing up, just knowing that they're places and they're miles away, the horizon of your mind is much, much bigger, but that this just had to occur to people.
Yeah, that's a really interesting way to put it.
Yeah, I think he's done that really well there.
It's so
turned these
interesting
little dots into places.
How human knowledge builds on it, like on things like that. Because partially you have stuff like that where, you know, we grew up knowing that other planets were things you could stand on and stuff, and that they are physical places and not just kind of concepts in the sky or whatever. But then also you've got like the fact that like generations like us and below like know how to use like smartphones and stuff, and like what that's going to open up to people, because there's not going to have to be that learning curve for them in those sort of things, and like we understand what the internet is and other people don't, and like how many more of those there are to come.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It was a real moment of going, yeah, wow,
Yeah,
what a weird second that must have been in his realization, just like you just woomph the expansion of everything that was possible. So he also, along with Kepler, spent a long time proving Copernicus right, found moons and like tracking the planets and stuff. And he was put on trial. Where Copernicus had kept quiet, and obviously Bruno has been, then Galileo was put on trial. He was forced to recant his findings, and he was put on house arrest until his death. And then this blew my mind. This like blew my mind in the opposite direction. Like 1 second you're having this realization that human beings in 1610 were going, fuck me, those dots over there are places, and it could theoretically be possible to go there, and blah, 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 blah. The church did not rescind the condemnation of Galileo and his discoveries until when, Ron?
Was it the latest nice one that loves the gays and that? Was it like 2019?
It was 1992.
Yeah.
376 years after they incorrectly condemned him.
I always love stuff like that. Well, I don't love it; it's sickening, but like it's always interesting to hear. Like one of the worst ones of those I've ever heard. My friend Eve studied Aboriginal culture in Australia as part of her degree, and Aboriginal people were still on the official list of Australian fauna, i.e. animals, until 1976.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Humans can just make you feel so many different directions all at once.
Yeah.
What's your third one, Ron?
So my third one, which is actually my second one, is a bit of a vague one, which is just human anatomy.
Oh.
So Andreas Vesalius, a Belgian man from the 16th century, he basically turned one of the sort of the fathers of medicine, really, because he started applying scientific method to these things, less of the humours and the leeches and bad spirits and stuff. So his father was a doctor. He was born in Brussels. He went to Paris to then study medicine, and there was a lot of dissection. There wasn't a lot of dissection done to start studying these things. But essentially, he started doing that. He was a bit of and not to get ahead on... Oh, we haven't cast Galileo yet.
Oh, yeah.
Galileo...
Oh.
I imagine, for some reason, I just imagine Galileo being quite handsome.
Yeah, my instinct has gone to Poldark.
As it always does.
What's his name? Aidan Turner.
Yeah.
But that might be just because he played Da Vinci in something recently.
Yeah, let's not leech off that too hard.
Who's that man? He's handsome.
Who?
Raoul Bova. Italy's sexiest man alive. I believe you, Italy. Yeah, and he's got to go on trial, so he's got to kind of be a bit spunky, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's defiant again.
And rugged, maybe. But again, a bit of just a night owl nerd looking at telescopes.
Yeah, he's got to be smart with it. Like, you could imagine a Cumberbatch type at the peak of his...
Yeah, but I want him to
now.
be more Italian-y,
Yeah.
You know? An Italian Benedetto Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
For some reason, my Gregor head has obviously gone to Ewan, but...
Obviously.
We'll save him for later on. We could go Aidan Turner. He looks kind of Italian.
No, we're not bitching out, Ron.
Mediterranean hunks. Ugh, they're all AI. They're all AI hunks.
Who was that guy in call my agent. He could be good. Beep-boot-doot-doo-doo. Beep-doot-doot. I'll find him. What's his name?
I don't know if this is a rogue shout, but what about Stephen Mangan?
Oh!
Because he's kind of nerdy but handsome, and he's got sort of floppy Italian-looking hair.
Yeah. Let me just find this guy, and you can have a look at him and see what you think. That's it. Asad Bouab. I'm sending you a link. He's French. Oh, mother is French, father is Moroccan.
Yes.
How do you feel about him?
He can be Galileo.
Yeah.
Yes. He is Galileo.
Great.
All right, back to, what's his name? Andreas Vesalius. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. Not to get ahead on the casting for him, but he seems like almost kind of a sort of a Gregory House kind of character, because it says that he was quickly recognised as brilliant, but arrogant and argumentative. During the second dissection he attended, Vesalius snatched the knife from the barber and demonstrated both his skill at dissection and his knowledge of anatomy to the amazement of all in attendance.
Yeah.
But essentially, there's not loads more. He didn't have like a big breakthrough like other ones on the list have had. He more just applied scientific method to something that had been fairly unorganized and kind of alternative medicine-y beforehand. But his great work was De Humani Corporis Fabrica Libri Septum, which was one of the first texts on human anatomy.
Okay. I'm picturing Alexander Armstrong.
See, I'm just picturing a young Hugh Laurie.
Well, let's go young Hugh Laurie then. Let's house him up.
Yeah, house him up. It's the vibe that he's giving.
I'm going to go back to my number 2 now, Ron. This is the one that annoyed me more than anything else and led to me having a whinge at Tom for a while. It's Galileo again. So, 1598. This is before he finds out about Jupiter's moons.
Oh, so we need a younger person than Assad?
No, you can age down people.
We'll de-age him. Okay, yeah.
It's only 12 years. We'll just de-age him using, or we'll film this bit and then we'll wait 12 years and we'll film the next bit.
Yeah.
Smart. He realised that heavier objects don't fall faster than lighter objects. So he was 24-year-old mathematics professor at the University of Pisa and basically spent quite a lot of time sitting around in the cathedral.
Oh, I know about this.
Watching stuff. And he was watching lamps swinging. I assume like the incense lamps, and they sort of swing in Catholic processions, I think. And then, being bored, decided to time the swings of the lamps using his pulse, and basically realised that all the lamps were swinging at the same speed. And then he was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Started playing about with heavier lamps and getting people to swing 2 lamps and different things and blah, 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 blah. And basically found out that they always took exactly the same amount of time to travel through a complete arc, no matter how big or small the lamp was. They were travelling at the same speed. So up until this point, Aristotle had stated that heavier objects fall faster because they weigh more. And then Galileo basically stood on a desk in front of all of his pupils, and he had 2 bricks that he'd cemented together and a single brick, dropped them at the same time, and they hit the ground at the same time. And it was like, boom, did the heavier one fall faster? And everyone was like, no, oh my God. So basically, Galileo invented checking to see if you should just believe what a man said 1,500 years ago. Fucking, this annoyed me so much that no one had checked. For 1,500 years, no one checked, Ron. All you had to do was drop 2 things. No one did it for 1,500 fucking years. This is what I mean when I say there was low-hanging fruit to gather back in the day.
But are you convinced that you could explain back in day why dropping a brick and a feather, they don't hit the ground at the same time?
No, but you could drop two things that were of a similar ilk.
But then I think the argument would be, no, the heavier one did hit the ground sooner, but it was just imperceptible. It was like, we can't tell. We're simple peasants, and we're pissed off our tits because there's no clean water, so we drink beer all day.
I just think in 1,500 years, no one dropped 2 bricks.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I think someone should have maybe checked sooner. And you know what? There's probably...
Aristotle had it so fucking easy. Just said a load of stuff and was a bloke ages ago, and everyone went, yeah, sounds
but
right, mate.
I don't know this. Maybe I'm being flippant, but this sounds like one of those times where, like, white people hadn't checked, but there were probably like 120 Arabs that had already proved all of this stuff. Like in Baghdad, they're just dropping bricks and double bricks everywhere and watching them hit the ground at the same time.
Yeah. It was selling like feathers and bricks to white tourists. They really believe that they're falling at different speeds. Idiots.
Yeah, I don't know that to be true, but that's what I was imagining.
That one really annoyed me. Of all, there were 5 on my list. I found them all pretty interesting. That one was just like, Jesus Christ. You can't just spend a millennia and a half just trusting a guy.
No, but then if you think about religion, that's kind of all people did back then and still do.
People still do it.
Yeah.
Mad.
So the next one that I've got, Laura, is, again, another anatomical one. So this one is the human circulatory system.
Oh.
So this was by...
Like the M25, but for staying alive.
That rhymes.
The M20 Live.
The M20 Live. So this was done by William Harvey. It doesn't actually say where he's from. I'm just double checking so that we can cast him well. He was English.
Ooh.
And English around like in Shakespeare times. He's got the big ruff on.
Okay.
Basically, he discovered the actual function of the circulatory system, so what the heart does, what the lungs do, what the arteries and the veins and all of that stuff. Because previous to that, it was all kind of vibes-based. There was a lot of liquid in us, and we knew that the liquid was important, but people didn't really know sort of what it was doing, or what was kind of the purpose of it. It was kind of built on the original sort of musings, again, 1,500 years before, of a Greek physician called Galen, who said that food was converted into blood in the liver, and then the body ate the blood.
Interesting.
And then, William Harvey went to Oxford, so he's a bit posh, and then he went to study in Italy, acknowledged as the medical centre of Europe. And then, he just focused his studies on the veins and the arteries. Lots of cutting up of corpses everywhere. He's the guy that discovered flap valves and stuff, so that he knew that the pipes were all one way. He knew that it flowed in veins only from the arms and the legs back to the heart. He worked out the direction of it all. Because we had no idea what was going on beforehand. People thought that the thumping of the heart in your chest was the voice of your conscience and things like this, which is why it started beating faster in certain things.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm picturing Grima Wormtongue.
Interesting.
Like a gross little guy just cutting up bodies.
I do like that actor. He's good. All right, let's find out his name and then it can be him. Brad Dourif. Oh, he was in all of the Chucky movies.
Oh. Yeah, he really was.
Yeah, that's kind of his thing, more than...
Yeah. And Dune. Oh, and The Exorcist. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
He's been in good stuff.
Man, he likes to be a creepy fuck, doesn't he?
I think that would be such a pleasure to be like an actor and just be the creepy guy. What a great thing to be cast type as, because it you'd be in various different things. You could be in action movies, horrors, comedies, but you're just known for a thing.
We can't really do that though, Ron, because we've got resting smiley face.
Do we?
Yeah, we just always look approachable.
Yeah, I'm too handsome to be a creepy guy.
And I just smile all the time.
Yeah,
All right. My fourth one, Ron, is the discovery of air pressure.
Ooh.
It's
Should have
1640,
fucking vetted this list, man, before we commit to this episode.
No, this one was interesting. Okay. All of mine interested me. This was the first one that I didn't really fully understand.
Yeah. My thing with the last two that I've done is just like, I feel like it's a bit, I don't know if we can call it sort of an invention or whatever, because it's more just like, I don't know, it feels like nature invented it. Like with nature,
it's not inventions, Ron. It's discoveries.
I thought it was inventions.
I don't know why you. No, it's discoveries.
Then why did you let me do that whole intro about invention?
I didn't know you were going to do that whole intro about inventions. You didn't tell me what it was until it was happening.
You let me do
the book is called
thing.
The 100 Greatest Science Discoveries, and in the intro to the book he talks about the difference between discoveries and inventions.
I clearly read inventions where it says discoveries. I was talking about you wanting to be an inventor because I thought this was about inventions.
It was weird. We all just nodded for a while.
I've been doing this whole thing being a bit perturbed because none of these are fucking inventions.
No, they're discoveries.
Well, why didn't we do it on inventions?
Science isn't about
we talk about inventions
it's about
all
discoveries.
The time. I thought it was going to be like the helicopter, the pacemaker, the combustion engine.
Basically, the helicopter was invented by about 50 different people because it's so fucking obvious. Romans had helicopters.
No, you're thinking of Da Vinci. Romans didn't even have the wheelbarrow, mate. No way they could invent a helicopter.
I know, that was my joke, Ron. Oh my God. Where are you today?
I'm in invention land when I should have been down Discovery Avenue, and my mind is spooked.
Pull a Yui and come with me down Air Pressure Avenue because it's 1640 and we've got Evangelista Torricelli, who I was hoping might be a woman, but it is a man called Evangelista.
No, women.
But maybe we could cross sex
number
cast
100
and cast this one
on
as
this
a woman.
list will be feminism, and then it's only after that women started inventing stuff. Not inventing stuff, discovering stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
But we could cross-cast this one like that Bob Dylan film where Kate Blanchett was Bob Dylan
Sure.
for a bit.
What about Eva Mendes?
Well, let me tell you about them first, Ron. Let me tell you about them before we cast them. So this was the discovery that air has weight, which just, you're busy doing other things. You're not thinking about the weight of air because we can't feel it because we're born into it. Okay. So basically, Torricelli,
Do you think dolphins can't feel the sea?
Yeah, probably, because they're just so used to it.
That freaked me out.
I'd imagine everything in the sea doesn't really think about it, because that's just what it is.
Yeah, it's just occurred to me that they don't kind of bob around thinking, God, I'm wet.
No, if anything, they're like, oh, I'm dry, when they're dry.
Yeah. Okay. Freaked out, but...
Sometimes I think that about fish. Fish aren't always holding their breath. I find that hard to imagine.
Yeah, they don't have lungs. They couldn't go if they wanted to.
No, how on earth do you know if a fish is surprised?
Yeah, because they've always got that face on them as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd be gasping the whole time if they could.
Maybe fish aren't like that when they can't see us, but they're just so surprised by us when we're around that they're
I don't know.
that.
Fish always give off a very chill vibe to me because you always see videos of coral reefs and that, and there'll be like a shark going through it, and that shark could fuck up any cunt it could see there. But the fish just kind of chill around them. Like they leave a very small berth around the shark when the shark goes through, and it's.
Yeah, but then if you think about people walking on the pavement next to cars could come and kill us. But
you'd never see like a lion walk through a herd of zebra like that. They'd scatter.
No, but you do sometimes see like a leopard going up to a waterhole to drink, and other animals are so thirsty that they're just doing it, and they're kind of like, I can see the leopard, and they know they can outrun.
Yeah, but none of the fish in the reef are thirsty. I think it's because I think about this all the time. I think it's because they can escape in three directions.
Maybe they are thirsty. Maybe that's why they're always gasping.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Fish don't give off a chill vibe to me. They give off a absolutely paralysed by fear, but in the thickest body you could imagine.
That's because you can do nothing but project.
Well, you're projecting by saying they're chill.
Why can't they chill, though? I'm chill.
No, I'm not saying they can't be, but you are projecting.
But I gave an example. You're going off vibes based.
Yeah. I'm usually right. Anyway, Evangelista Torricelli was an assistant for Galileo. Ooh.
I'm bored of
And
Galileo.
at some point...
But at least we can soft launch this guy via the Galileo film, you know?
Yeah, in an early
backdoor
episode.
pilot.
Yeah. Well, Galileo's not doing planet stuff at this point. Early on, Galileo is using a vacuum pump to get water out of a well and doing a test with that. And they're pumping and pumping and pumping the water out. And then, but every time it gets to a certain level, it all collapses, and the water, they can't get it up to a certain level. And Galileo's theory at the end of this experiment was that the weight of the water causes the column of water to collapse above a certain height weight. Like the water can't go high because it's too heavy and it falls down. Later on, Torricelli is not his assistant anymore and is doing experiments on his own and wants to test this theory. So does it by using a heavier liquid. So starts working with liquid mercury. And he's like, so liquid mercury is something like 13 times heavier than water. So it should collapse at this point in the tower. It should collapse lower. And he finds that it does. Next day, he's repeating the test to check something else. And he gets a different result. The mercury won't come up to the same point that it went to the day before. It's coming up much lower. And the only difference was that it was an incredibly stormy day that day. The weather was wild and tempestuous, lots of atmospheric pressure. So he theorized that it was the atmospheric pressure that was pushing the liquid and forcing it to move. So when the air has a different force, different amounts of liquid move. And basically this was the beginning of serious study of weather and the atmosphere and our understanding of the atmosphere, and paved the way for Newton and gravity and all of that sort of stuff. And I think, yes, Torricelli went on to invent the barometer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, my last one, Laura.
Hang on, we haven't cast Evangelista Torricelli.
Who are you thinking? Javier Bardem?
Well, ooh, quite serious.
Yeah.
This one's awake, like in the daytime hours. So I don't like Javier Bardem's face. It's too big.
I thought you liked big-faced men. Like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
It's not the size of his face that is appealing. It's his gruff development from arsehole to brilliant. I wonder what he looked like in real life. There weren't photos, obviously, but... Oh, no, like a baby in a costume.
Evangelista Torricelli. David Mitchell. Paul Giamatti.
Yeah,
Paul Giamatti.
David Mitchell. No, David Mitchell is absolutely correct. A baby David Mitchell in a costume. Gosh. Ugh. Oh, horrible.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm going to close that page and never Google him again.
Oh, my God. Wait, I found one picture where he really looks like a moon.
No offence, David Mitchell.
Look at this. He looks like a moomin that's in Anonymous.
Oh, he does. Oh, no. Yeah.
I assume you saw this one, which led you to say he looks like a baby in a costume.
Yeah, that is exactly the one where he looks like a baby in a costume.
But also, like, Paul Simon for a large swathes of the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, because he's really wearing like a 70s mohair coat. Ugh. With those pink lips.
What a pretty little boy he is.
Boy, old man. He is an old boy, baby man, child, grown up. Ugh. Yuck. I think David Mitchell is spot on.
David Mitchell or Papa Moomin, depending on... Maybe there could be flashbacks where he's
the most recent baby to have been born at the time.
Throw a bunch of pubes at the last baby born and then roll him onto set. Okay, well, so my last one, Laura, which does follow on quite well from what you've just said there, is Boyle's Law, which was invented by Robert Boyle, and therefore I can picture no one but John Truglio. I don't know how to pronounce it. Charles Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine playing him in the film. But it's essentially just a formalization almost of what you've said there. It's that the volume of a gas is inversely proportional to the force squeezing it.
Yes.
And that's... You realise when you're reading, when you hear about a bunch of these lads one after the other, that quite how much sort of nepotism there is or was in the world. Robert Boyle,
I think is fair.
Robert Boyle was the son of an earl and a member of the British Scientific Society. He was. Do you remember Hooke's Law? He did the springs. We learnt about that.
Which I'm just about to do about Hooke.
Oh.
Maybe a different Hooke.
Robbie Hooke and Robbie Boyle, they were mates. He read a paper on the springiness of air and then went on to formalise it. I'll be honest, it was my number 5 and I found it too boring to read into.
Oh, well, don't worry, Ron, because Robert Hooke is my final 5th one, and it's good that it's 5th because it's the discovery of the existence of cells, which is right up your street. We love biology.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
So Bobby Hooke, I don't know who we want to get to play him. He was weak and sickly as a child and basically so ill that his parents just didn't educate him because they didn't think he'd survive childhood.
Oh, wow.
So they were like, don't bother. So he was proper secret gardening, you know, that lad in the bed.
Don't you educate me.
Yeah. So when he was still alive at 11, his dad was like, oh, go on then. We'll homeschool you, but you're not going to an actual school. You'll die on the way. So they homeschooled him, and then he was a bit of a Matt Damon in that chalkboard one, where he was just really good at stuff. So his dad died when he was 12, and
Good Will Hunting.
That's it. He inherited £100, and so he paid to go to Westminster School, and he did some painting, or he saw someone painting and he was like, oh, that looks good, I want to have a go at painting. Had a go at painting. He was really good at it. Then he went to Westminster and the guy was playing the organ and he was like, oh, I want to play the organ, and he did, and he was really, really good at it. And then the Puritans shut down music and he left Westminster. I'm not really sure why. And then he got a job being a servant to some science students at Oxford, and this is kind of how he got into the scientific world. So he's not too nepotistic, because it wasn't like his dad was an earl or anything. He got there by being someone's servant.
More of a Faramir than a Boromir.
Yeah, absolutely. And he showed enough prowess and was good enough in and around the people doing science that he was hired onto the staff of the Royal Society. And then I think microscopes had not long been invented. And they were not that powerful, and the more powerful they were, the less focused they were, I think. So it was really, or they had to be super focused if they were super powerful. So basically he was really good at helping them design different microscopes. So he helped in the development of a 300 power microscope. And they started looking at the structure of things. And he was really good because he's good at painting, he's good with art, and he's interested in all this science. He created studies of flies' eyes, the way they worked. You could see it under a microscope and painting that, and butterfly wings and stuff. And then in 1664, he's microscoping a bit of dried cork. And he finds out that it's made up of these tightly packed little holes, because cork has large cells. So because it has large cells, they were easier to see in these rudimental microscopes. So he could see them, and that basically led to the discovery that everything is made up of cells. Obviously, some of them are smaller than cork. On cork, they could see easier, but then they took that and they moved it across. Now, he's the one that termed them cells. So the idea that they were little chambers that stood in a row because they were empty in the cork, so they looked empty. And he theorised that they were empty because the cork was dead and that they would have been filled with fluid when the cork was alive, and he was correct. And basically came up with that, and then scientists were like, hang on a minute, this is amazing, and then took that information and ran with it and discovered cells and everything.
I love that. That gives me the same feeling as what you were saying about Galileo dropping the stuff off the tower and stuff, because like that's literally the kind of science when you're a kid like me and you got given a microscope every other Christmas and stuff, and then you'd literally just be like, right, I'm going to look at this under the microscope and then just like check that out, and then right now I'm going to look at this. But back then that was literally the bleeding edge of science to look at it. It was like, fuck, we were on the piss last night, we had some red wine, I guess let's look at the corks under the microscope so that we can claim it on expenses.
Yeah. Your last-minute Christmas present was like a Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
Back then. Yeah. I really enjoyed this, Ron. I'm sad we have to wait another 100 episodes to do another one.
Who are we casting for Hook last but not least? We never went gender swapped.
No, we didn't, did we? We want a spunky yet sickly, determined and artistic inventor type.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega?
I mean, Jenna Ortega for me is more like one of the ones that was up all night, but that might just have been because of Wednesday.
Yeah, she's got big owlish eyes, very nocturnal.
What about who? I'm going to Google starlets of today.
A young Kirsten Dunst.
I've never heard of the number one. Mia Wasikowska?
Don't know.
Oh, this list is from 2014. That's explaining some things. Okay. Jessica Chastain, she's got kind of a sickly vibe to her.
Has she? I thought she was the curvy one.
No comment. I don't know. Why did Starlets of Today bring up a list from 2014? That's 10 years old.
What about
I don't
Bella
know who
Hadid?
any of these people.
She's got Lyme disease.
Oh, she does look ill. Yeah, okay.
She's very skinny.
Yeah, she looks kind of like the arm of a chair. Yeah, I can have her.
But a really nicely carved one.
Yeah, one that's had like a hand on the end of it for a long time.
Yeah, ornate, but you don't want to sit on it for too long.
Yeah, like the chair at your grandma's house that's just kind of in the conservatory, but you've never seen anyone actually use it.
Yeah, and one day you'll inherit it, and then it'll just take up a corner of your house, and you'll be like, oh, I don't want it, but it belongs to a dead person. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. Happy 100 episodes. I've had a really nice time, Ron.
Yeah,
I've had a really nice time.
I just remembered what we did for the 50th. We went through all the previous episodes.
Did we?
Yeah, we should have done that. Maybe we'll do that on the Patreon.
This.
Yeah.
No, we'll do that on 50 episodes. So at 150, we'll do that again. And at 200, we'll do some more of these. We've got so many more episodes to come. Anyway, thank you for listening. If this is your first listen and you've enjoyed it, go back to episode 1 and listen to all of them. They're best enjoyed in order. And then catch up with us once you've binged it all. And we love you. And become a patron. And I'm working on the tea towel. And good luck to you and all your endeavours.
100 dismissed.
Oh, no. Before we go, Ron, actually, I got a message from... Shauns, that person whose name I never know how to pronounce, explaining Shauns. It's one of the patrons. listening to Greg Ahead a couple of episodes ago, and I said that the concept of change should be spelled out delta instead of using a triangle. For the first time, he explained to me here that the triangle is a Greek capital letter, and the letter is called delta.
No, I've told you that 100 times.
No, because they said in the message, I don't remember Ron ever explaining the details of it in the lesson.
Go back to the first one. Go back to the original Macbeth thing. I'd have told you that.
Don't think you did.
No. I'm sorry, but no.
We all agree you didn't. So, there we go. End of the episode. Lovely days. Thanks, everyone, for being amazing.
100 dismissed.